What's up everybody, my name's Fall from Grace, and in this video today, I'm here to show off and check out the Sony ZV-1 compact camera. Now this camera has absolutely been designed with content creators in mind, particularly vloggers and live streaming professionals like myself. Now before we get too deep into the video, full disclosure, this is a sponsored video with Sony. They've sent me both the camera and also the Bluetooth companion shooting grip. So we're gonna dive into this. I'm super excited to show both of these off, but let's start with the unboxing. So firstly, let's open up the camera itself. I've already broken the seal because sometimes that takes far too long to do on camera. So we're gonna open this up and we've got a ton of the papers. Also, obviously, because I haven't opened the camera yet, what you're seeing is not shot with this camera, but we will get to that footage very, very shortly. Once I've opened up the camera and talked about the features and the externals and everything, then it will start showing some footage. So here is the camera itself. Obviously quite compact. We've got the flip out screen, which actually turns it on. There you go. We've got the flip out screen, so you're gonna be seeing the setup there. We can pop it back in as well. And on top are some of the buttons. So the first thing that I've noticed about this camera is, contrary to a lot of other compact cameras and digital cameras, the record button is almost as big as the shutter button. So this is your video record button, which is a nice big red circle, which is very easy to spot. But before we dive in too deep to the actual camera, let's take a look at what else is inside this box. We have a little dead cat. So the Sony ZV-1 has an inbuilt microphone. So as it is designed for vloggers, you don't want to have to be carrying, if you just want to go on the go really quickly and film something, you don't want to have to bring an external mic and a bunch of other equipment. So this is going to pop on the top to protect your microphone from any wind noise. So we can pop that on in a second to show you how it looks. And we also have the USB cable. So I think that's everything that's inside the box. We'll pop it to the side. So we have our USB cable that also powers the camera if you do want to use it for live streaming, and also will charge it. So let's pop on our dead cat. So we just have a little filler there that we can pop out, and then we can pop in the dead cat, and that is going to protect us from any wind noise. So that is the microphone on the top. This camera doesn't have as good an autofocus as this one, which we'll talk about in a sec. So when I do hold it up, I do have to hide my face. So there you can see this is the microphone, and this is where we're going to be putting in our dead cat. So let's pop that in. So here is the camera with the dead cat attached. One thing I've noticed straight away is that the grip of this camera is really comfortable. It has a nice little thumb grip here for you to place your thumb, and also this part here that's really comfortable to hold. So right off the bat, just holding it in one hand is super comfortable. If you are going to be vlogging, obviously you don't want something super heavy and cumbersome to film with. So if you were to switch it around and just hold it, you can also use the thumb grip with your other hand to hold it. And that's actually like super comfortable and really lightweight. So you can just, film to your heart's content out in public or whatever you're doing. If you do want something a little more solid to put your camera on, that's where this guy comes in handy. So let's take a look at the shooting grip and open it up and see how it goes. So this is a Bluetooth shooting grip, and it's going to give you a little bit of extra distance on the camera as well. So it's kind of like a selfie stick, but it also has a lot of functionality as well. Inside the box, we also have a cover for it and books if you need any extra instructions. Nice and simple, and this will look after it when it's not in use. Super nice little felt bag, just for that little bit of protection. So this grip will be super handy, not only for, using it as handheld, but it also has a few legs that come out, so you could definitely use it as a little tripod if you wanted to. The top of the grip has 360 degrees of rotation, so there's a little button on the top, and you're just going to spin it around. It also locks in at every 90-degree point, so you can have your camera in any way that you want. And then there's also 180 degrees of tilt, so there's a button in here that you want to press, and then you can tilt it backwards and forwards. The controls on the grip are your shutter button, you've got your zoom in and out, you've got a video recording button, and also a custom programmable button, so you can set it to anything that you want, and also then a little lock so you don't accidentally hit something while you're in the middle of recording. And now that the camera is mounted, you can see where these controls are really going to come in handy. So if you're shooting towards yourself, and you're probably going to see my face super close up, you can see that the buttons on the inside obviously are going to be very useful for quick actions. And then if you want to film whatever is in front of you, you just press in that button, go into the 180 degrees, it's going to lock in place, and then you can use these buttons on the outside. In terms of my first impressions, I'm definitely noticing the build quality of everything feels really solid. All the joints on the grip feel really nice. The flip out camera on the screen doesn't feel flimsy. It clicks in really nicely and just feels quality, which is something I've come to know and expect from Sony, as I have a 4 or 5 year old RX100 that is still absolutely fine, and the Sony a5100 that I'm filming on right now. Something that I've kind of already mentioned, but something that I think is fantastic about this camera in particular is the large video record button. For generations of cameras, it seems like the shutter button is the only thing that matters, and the recording video button has always been so small and so hidden until now. And I think that kind of just solidifies that this camera is made for video content creation. Obviously, I've only just unboxed it and I haven't gone out and shot anything with it yet, which I will absolutely do in a moment. But I think from a first impression standpoint, it is small and compact. It is lightweight. You would have absolutely no worries in fitting this in a bag and taking it out on the go. And as you saw earlier in the video, all it took was flipping out the screen, the camera powered on, and it was ready to go. And I think that speed is really important in the vlogging world, because if you're in a situation where you quickly need to get that shot, if something is happening outside that's something you absolutely need to capture, you need it to quickly fire up, you need it to be ready to film in a couple of seconds. Now, before we head out on the go, I do want to see how this camera performs in this setting. So we're going to move this camera out of frame and we're going to pop this one in and see how it goes in this setup. And now here we are filming on the ZV-1. So you are seeing through the ZV-1 lens right now, and I'm also using the grip as a controller. So I'm actually zoomed in a little bit. This is the entire frame. It is super wide. You can see so much of the space. And then we can also zoom all the way in. It's gonna have me a little bit out of frame, but that's really useful to use this tool as well. And obviously we can use all of the buttons as we like. So I have set up this custom assignable button to do the one touch bokeh. So if you do like the look of, your background being a little more blurred so that you as the subject is fully focused and the background is blurred, then that is at a touch of a button. A feature that I absolutely love about the ZV-1 is the product showcase button. So I can do at the touch of a button this. Look how quickly that focuses on the subject and snaps back to my face. Now, I get sent stuff all the time from companies and I love to unbox things live on my stream to show my audience. And with my current camera, I have to hide my face because traditionally cameras are made, I can't get over it. Look at that autofocus. Cameras are made to focus on your face first and foremost. So if I'm doing unboxings, I'd have to cover my face to get the camera to focus on the product. But with this, that's not a thing anymore. So with this camera, with the product showcase mode turned on, it will focus on whatever is closest to the camera. So if I wanted to show off my nails, it's just going to focus on whatever is closest to the camera, and that's great. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a webcam if you're just starting off on stream, but I think a camera like this can really set you apart, especially if you don't have a lot of lighting solutions. If we turn off my lights, this is how it performs in low light. It'll take a little sec, but it's actually really clear. I have no lighting on right now. I have some nanoleaf panels lighting the room, but in terms of lighting me as a subject, there is nothing on me right now, and this is performing very well. Now, if we turn the lights back on, give it a second, it will sort itself out. But if we do turn them down a little bit, you'll notice that even in, low light, it does really well. This is with my key lights on very, very dim, and it's lighting me really nicely. This is such a cozy vibe, and we can also test out the product showcase. Still focusing completely fine if we turn the lights completely off. Test out that focus. Again, with little to no lighting in this room, completely fine. And that's very impressive. I have to say, just from this little test now, I'm really impressed with the Sony ZV-1. It's performed really well in low light in this gaming space with lots of different external lighting sources. With no light or low light and product showcase, it's pretty impressive. So I've come over to the gym to show the camera in use outside of my gaming space. I'm using the onboard microphone with the dead cat attached. I put a fan on to see if I can get some wind interference to see how the dead cat performs, and also testing out the stabilizer. I've got the camera on the shooting grip, and I'm also going to test the active stabilization. So you may notice the frame's kind of cropped in a little bit, so that allows for that warp stabilizer to do its thing. Something I wanted to show as well is the one touch bokeh. So I've set it to the programmable button on the shooting grip. So at the touch of a button, we can activate that one-touch bokeh. Obviously, the further away you are from the background, the more blur that you're going to get on that, and the clearer you're going to look as the subject. Now, vlogging is not my normal style of content anymore. I used to do it way back in the YouTube days, but it's been fun playing around with this, and I honestly think if you are looking at getting this camera, the shooting grip is a must. It has made this so much easier. Having all of those controls right at your disposal on the grip is invaluable. So if you are thinking about getting into vlogging, I think this camera paired with the shooting grip is something that you absolutely cannot look past. The camera does everything for you in intelligence mode, so if you are new to the camera world and you don't know all the intricacies of photography and videography, then the ZV-1 is definitely something to think about. I think the versatility of this camera is really what gives it an edge. The fact that it is so small and compact and can be taken on the go, but can also perform really well in this type of setting. Webcams are fine, but if you do want to push it to that next level and give yourself a bit of an edge on the competition, I think this camera would be a fantastic choice. I'm using it in conjunction with the Elgato Cam Link, which is capturing it over HDMI and outputting this. And the fact that you can just zoom and use this as a controller without having to mess about with the camera when it is on a tripod is a really nice quality of life feature. And the great thing about this camera is you don't need to have a videography degree to use it. The intelligence in the camera is where people will find great value. If you don't know what aperture, shutter speed, or ISO is or what it means, that's completely fine. The intelligent auto mode is what I'm shooting with right now, and it does it all for you. If you do know how to dial in those settings, there's no doubt you'll get some fantastic output, but you don't need to know that, and that is fantastic. The camera world can be quite daunting when people are throwing out numbers and values and lenses and all of these things. If you don't know what that means, that's completely fine. You don't need to compromise. You can use a camera that can do everything on auto and still get a fantastic looking output for your streams or your vlogs or any content creation. Overall, I am so impressed by the Sony ZV-1. I can't wait for this to take place of my very old RX100, which I'll admit has stood the test of time, but this just has so many great quality of life functions and features, and I'm really looking forward to having a second angle now in my setup. So if you like the look of the Sony ZV-1 and the shooting grip, I have some fantastic news because I do have a giveaway. Thanks to Sony, I'm giving away a Sony ZV-1 and the shooting grip to one lucky person. All you have to do is go into the description and head over to my Twitter page. I will link out to the competition post over there, and I just need you to tell me what your vlog idea is or your stream idea. So pitch me your best idea of how you'll be utilizing this amazing camera setup, and you could be a winner. But that is where the video is going to wrap up for today. I had a great time testing out this camera. I'm so impressed by it, and I can't wait to implement it into my setup. If you have any other questions about the camera, let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll see you in my next video or in my next stream. Bye!